Hi there, my name's Kevin Chambers. I'm the creator of RideSheet, and in this video, I want to talk to you about runs. So if you're in the demand response transportation field, you know, of course, we have trips and we have vehicles operated by drivers who fulfill those trips. And that combination of a driver and a vehicle on a day in RideSheet, we call that a run. And so here I've got a demonstration copy of RideSheet, and I'm in the trips tab right now. I've got a whole bunch of demonstration trips. And if I scroll across far enough here, you'll see that we have some columns that are really about this connection between the rider who wants to take a trip and the driver and vehicle. And so we actually have four columns dedicated to that. We've got a driver ID, we've got a vehicle ID, we've got a run ID, which I'll explain in a moment, and we have this run OK field. All of these are really about connecting the trip that needs to be fulfilled with the resources to fulfill that trip. So that's what it looks like on the trip side. Let's take a moment and look at the runs side. So we have a runs tab, and on this particular demonstration copy, it's right next to the trips tab. So I'm just going to click on that. And here you can see we've got a list of runs, and you can see it's a much shorter list of columns, and you really get to see the basic information about what a run is. We've got the run date. When is this run happening? We've got the driver, we've got the vehicle, we've got the run ID again, and then we've got a little bit of information about that run in terms of when it's scheduled to happen. And then we have some calculated columns over here. You can see they're calculated because they're in blue, and I'll explain those in a little bit. But here you really get to see the definition of what a run is. It is a driver and a vehicle on a day from a particular starting time to a particular ending time. Now, we also have this run ID here. This is not usually needed by most operations, but some agencies have complicated run structures. Well, they'll have a driver be on one vehicle and they'll switch to another vehicle, and then they will switch back to their original vehicle. And that can get complicated in terms of being able to associate the right trip with the right run. And so if you're in a situation where you have AM shifts and PM shifts, then you can use this run ID column to match up those different shifts within a single day to one another. But for the purposes of this talk, we don't need that because we're going to assume that every single driver is on one vehicle for the entire day. So we've got some information here, and for each one of these runs, we're actually able to pull information over from the trips. That's what these calculated columns are doing here. So for a driver JB on bus 1 on the 2nd of March, we've got a total of 5 trips that have been assigned to this run, and the first pickup time starts at 8:34, and the last drop-off time is at 12:42. This matches up with the starting time and ending time, so we don't have any trips that are outside the bounds of what's been scheduled for this run. Now, let's go back to the other side, to trips, and we have a calculated column here on the trip side that's also really about making the connection between trips and runs. So all these cells in this run OK column are green. And what that means is that for every trip assigned, there's a run in the run sheet that matches up, and there's no conflicts. So let me show you an example of what a conflict would look like. So we know that this run here, the driver JB on bus 1, their shift starts at 8:30. Well, we've got them starting at 8:49. What if I change this to 7:49 and make them need to start earlier? Well, immediately over here in the run OK, this green changes to red. And that is meant to be a flag to the scheduler that there's a problem here, that you've assigned a trip to a run when that run is not scheduled to operate either on that day or at that time. There's the issue there. And then if we go over to the run sheet, we can see here that that 749 kind of shows us what the problem is here. Now, this can be easily fixed by just switching it back to 849. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over here to runs. I'm going to just have this entire run start earlier. So it's going to start at 7:30 instead of 8:30. And now if we go over here to this trip, we see that it's no longer red, it's green, which means we're all good. So that, in a nutshell, is what runs does. We're going to use this run information for generating driver manifests. We're also going to use this run information later to collect information about vehicle activities, what the odometer readings were, what the actual vehicle utilization duration was, all those things. But it starts here with how you set up runs ahead of time and how you schedule out what you're intending to do with your resources, your drivers, and your vehicles. There's more information in our documentation about runs. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.